Hey, how's it going, guys? This is Jeff Vanasdal with UTV Mag. Tonight's guest is Monster Energy's own Matt Burroughs. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back. Hey, how's it going, man?
Hey, good, bud. How you doing?
Good, good. Yeah, it's been a while. It's maybe, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 months since I've been to the Monster Energy HQ and saw you in your office. How you been, man?
I've been good. It was probably longer than that because we've been out. I've been out of the office since March, so I think it was
Yeah,
probably Jan. I think you were in the office in January, so it's
yeah, that
been
sounds
a
about
long
right.
time.
Yeah, I think it was actually in December. I think it was right before
Yeah.
Christmas, if I'm right. But it's always good seeing out there that facility is just freaking awesome.
Yeah.
If you haven't been there, it's pretty cool how you guys built the building. You had your Monster Energy athletes come in, right, and just do burnouts on every floor.
Yeah, they came in when it was just a shell building, and the floors were concrete, and they're still concrete. And we had a bunch of motorcycle guys come in and burn tracks on every floor, and then they sealed the floor, so the floors are still just bare concrete with tire tracks everywhere, and then they're sealed. So it's pretty unique for sure.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy to see. You'll see you walk into the office, and then you'll see a wall, and then a burnout right in the middle of it. You're like,
Yeah,
how's it even happen?
yeah, yeah. It was pretty cool when they did that. It's a definitely a unique building, but I think it fits the image of Monster Energy for sure.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, man. Glad to have you on the podcast. I think this is the second episode in of the UTV Mag podcast, and yeah, I figured who better else to bring on board this podcast is you, fresh off your BAJA 500 win.
No, thanks. Really appreciate it. It was finally a breakthrough win for us. You know, we've been reaching a long time to get to the top of the podium and finally broke through. So we're extremely pumped, really humbled and honored to have that victory for sure. But now that we've tasted it, we're even more motivated for the future.
But yeah, this 2020 has just been such a weird year, and I think the last race for you was the Silver State 300 or 300, right?
Yeah, and actually, I didn't even race that. I had to bring in Bradley Howe to race for me. Came down with COVID the week before, so I actually got COVID. My family got it. My wife got it, and she had it pretty mild, like a mild cold. My kids had it really mild, but it laid me out for almost a month, almost about 28 days, and I was really sick,
Jeez, yeah.
really
So
sick
was
from
it?
it.
Holy crap! Jeez, man. Yeah, sorry to hear that. Yeah, I think even before that, I saw on Facebook that would you get hit by a
Yeah.
car or something on your on your
Yeah,
bike?
so about a month before that, I was out for an early morning training ride on my road bike, and I was heading down a road at, I don't know, 20, 25 miles an hour. Was real early in the morning, like 6:30, no traffic at all, and he just turned left in front of me, and I, no, I didn't slow down, didn't hit the brakes, couldn't, and just slammed into him, and luckily no broken bones. How I walked away from that, I'll never know. But yeah, so it's definitely been a challenging year for sure.
Jeez, yeah, I saw that. I was like, wow. And then the whole COVID stuff. Yeah, so I figured, we could talk about maybe the Baja 500 and how that went down. And you said like even just a few weeks before, you were like, well, should we race? Should we not? With all this COVID stuff, and then the borders were closed for a while, right? And then open back
Yeah,
up, and it wasn't even sure about the dates and stuff.
yeah, and the dates kept moving, and the biggest thing for us is we were just worried about our crew. and the safety of our crew. And we usually take a pretty big group to Baja. We feel like if we're going to do Baja, we need to do it right. So we were really on the fence about doing it, not doing it. In fact, we had decided probably a month out not to do it. And we had, had a team meeting about it. And, a lot of guys said, no, we have to go do it. We have the car for Baja. It's going to be really hot there. The 500's all on the desert side. Let's go do it. So we kind of went down with a skeleton crew, and SCORE put a lot of good protocols in place to deal with COVID. They got us across the border. In fact, when we were crossing the border, they had a list of SCORE racers. So they moved the race. The race was in San Felipe at El Dorado Ranch, which was pretty cool. So we kind of decided as a team that, Baja and the SCORE Championship, it's those are big events for us, and we really didn't want to miss it. And we did pretty well at Vegas to Reno. We just missed the podium with a fourth. So the car was we felt we had a really good car, and just decided that it was a race that we needed to do. And obviously, we're definitely glad that we went and did it.
Oh yeah. So how was it different this year with the COVID like precautions? I saw they were doing some like testing and stuff at a check-in, I guess, at Tech Contingency, or
yeah. So at Tech Contingency, they took your temperature, they checked your oxygen levels, and there was really, it was in El Dorado Ranch, which is kind of a private condominium community right on the Sea of Cortez. So they had it in there, but at sign up, they kept people apart from each other. They were checking your temperature, checking your oxygen. They had hand sanitizer. Everybody was in masks. So, I think the off-road community did a really good job there in Mexico to show that, even in spite of all these restrictions and challenges, we can come together as a group. And we may not like some of the restrictions that are there, but at the end of the day, if that's what we have to do to race, that's what we have to do to race. And as far as I know, it went off pretty safely. I haven't heard of any COVID issues that they had. So I think it went off well. I think SCORE really did a good job.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I'm glad to see all that, and just being back at to racing. It's good to see. I mean, we saw each other at the Met 400 as well, and who would have thought maybe a week or two after that, then all the races and events would get shut down of all this COVID stuff. But did you guys go down to pre-run at all, or?
Yeah, so we went down the week before, which we normally do, and to pre-run. But we were a smaller crew, so we actually had 3 drivers. We decided to do 3 drivers just because we knew it was going to be so hot and so rough, and it just, normally we wouldn't do 3 drivers. We would only do 2, but because it was so hot, we went down with 3. But one of the guys, Mitchell, he couldn't get down till just a few days before the race. So it was really Bradley and I pre-running, and we only had 2 cars to pre-run the whole thing. And we actually didn't leave until Tuesday. So it was a much shorter pre-run. We didn't get to pre-run like we normally do. We just, got to see the course and really mark dangers, but we really, didn't find too many lines, to really do our homework down there. It was more for dangers, but the pre-run was just so hot. One of the sections of the course was about a 70-mile dry lake bed on.
I saw that. That's
Laguna
crazy.
Salada. It was, in the day we were out pre-running, it was about 112 degrees on the dry lake bed. So it was just a really, really hot pre-run. And then to top it off, I got food poisoning on Thursday before the race. So
Geez.
all Thursday afternoon and Thursday night and Friday morning, I wasn't doing so hot. But,
do you think you drank the water or something down there, or was it just a fluke, or?
We don't know, because we had actually hired in a chef to cook for us. They cooked all our meals for us. So I was the only one that got sick out of our whole crew, and we all ate the same food.
Really?
So,
Huh.
I don't know, maybe weak stomach. I don't know. Who knows? But I was the only one that got sick. So But
Jeez.
luckily, it only lasted about 12 hours, so got through that and was fine on race day.
Oh, that's good. Are you a big fan of Mexican food when you go down
Yeah,
there?
yeah, we eat a lot of Mexican. We eat a lot of Mexican food. We live in Southern California, so we probably eat Mexican food. I don't know, 3 or 4 times a week, being from here. So,
Oh
um,
yeah,
yeah, always a fan of Mexican food.
I could probably do the same thing, and I'm right in the heart of the Midwest in Indiana, so
Yeah,
I think I had Mexican twice last week, 2 days in a
yeah.
row. So, but the Mexican is not the same here as it is in, of course, Mexico or even SoCal.
Yeah, we're very fortunate in Southern California, although most of the restaurants are still closed with outdoor dining only. But there's a local restaurant here in Norco that we go to probably at least once a week. So they're open for outdoor dining. So we're still getting our fix.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I can't go without the Mexican food.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you guys went pre-running. It was it more difficult with just a short, like a smaller staff on like for your pit crew, or like how?
Yeah, it was
Tell us a
pretty.
little
It
about
was
that.
pretty tight. And normally, going to Mexico is completely different than racing in the U.S. And for us, my biggest priority is that the crew, we go down and we're safe when we're there, and we come back in one piece. That's regardless of how we do in the racing. I always want the crew to come back safe. But this was a little different in that we literally just had two Can-Ams that were pre-running in and one chase truck that was following us. So it was a little different. And like I say, we only pre-ran for 2 days. So normally we pre-run for 5 or 6 days. So it was
Yeah.
definitely a tight time schedule. Really, we were just mainly concerned with seeing any dangers that were out there. We knew the race was going to be super rough, and we knew the heat was going to really take its toll. So we weren't as concerned with finding really good lines. We're more concerned with just getting all the real bad dangers marked that might take us out of the race. So it was a little different for sure.
Uh,
Smaller crew pre-running definitely. Hopefully that's the only time we have to do that when we get our normal crew down there.
yeah, that would definitely make it difficult. Last time I was at the Baja 500, I was with the Murray brothers, and we had I think 3 chase trucks. But I heard the safest spot to be is actually in the race car, than being actually in the chase trucks.
Yeah, it is, and especially at night. Driving in Baja at night is definitely not the safest thing to do. So we really try to not have our trucks on the road at night in Baja if we can help it. It doesn't always work out that way, but we really make our best effort to have the trucks stationary once nighttime hits.
Oh
Luckily for
yeah,
this 500, we finished right before dark, or right at dark. But with the 1,000 coming up, that won't be the case.
yeah, and they can't fly helicopters and stuff down there at night,
No, not
right?
at night, and and even during the day, we are unfortunately our budget does not allow for helicopters.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, when we went down for the with the Murray brothers, I don't know if you saw that picture of their fall through the front windshield.
Yes, yes,
Brake rotor actually flew up and flew right through the truck.
yes. No, I saw that, and
Yeah,
we
and
we were
luckily I was
actually
not. What's that?
yeah, we were the team that came on to that right after that went through the windshield. I don't know if you remember it, our chase crew.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah. But the crazy thing is, I was riding it in the Raptor, and I always sit in the middle because I'm always working on my computer, like editing.
Yeah.
And sure enough, I switched right before that pit to the other chase truck, and Cole Friday was in the back, and luckily he wasn't sitting in the middle. He was sitting off to the left or right. So it would have been a bad deal if he was actually sitting in the middle. But those guys couldn't believe actually what happened. They said that they pulled over and just didn't say a word for about 10 minutes and just like walked around.
It's crazy Baja stories for sure. There's a lot of crazy stuff goes on there.
Oh yeah. Is there any like favorite like stops along the way, either for the Baja 500 or 1000?
We really like, and I think most of the people like getting tacos in Valley T.
Mm-hmm.
This year we didn't get to go there because the race didn't go near there, but we really like Valley T. And then for the 1,000 or even for the 500, when the races are in Sonata, we stay at Horsepower Ranch.
Oh
It's
yeah.
just a really cool place to stay. Super safe. They cook breakfast and dinner, and we just really enjoy staying there. It's you're kind of out of the hustle and bustle of Ensenada, and you can relax. And there's plenty of room to park your chase trucks and work on your car. And so really, we really like going to Horsepower to stay down there. And so Valley Tea Tacos and Horsepower, those are our two favorite places.
Making me hungry, man.
Yeah.
So, what makes like your X3? It's kind of, you have an X3 Max. Can you talk about kind of what you did to prep for this Baja 500? I saw on your Instagram you put wrong clutch in or something, and it only go 30 miles per hour. And you had to
Yes.
get out 15 minutes in.
So I refurbished the secondary clutch. We actually carry one on the car as a spare, especially for the longer races. But I prepped it. Normally, I get a chance to drive the car before the race. We'll go out and do a quick shakedown. But the fact that I got food poisoning, we didn't do it, and we thought, it's not a big deal. And literally, I took off from the starting line, and the secondary clutch wouldn't open. So I knew we had an issue right away. I knew exactly what it was. So literally, within the first half mile, my son was co-driving with me, and we jumped out, and within about 15 minutes, we got the spare secondary on, put it back on, and took off, and everything was good.
That's good. You said there's nothing like giving your competition a 15-minute head start.
Yeah, it was a bit of a bummer, but that just goes to show you in Baja, and it's different in racing in the States. In the States, if you have a problem now, one problem, forget it, you're done. And I just always have to tell myself in Baja that when you have some downtime, don't get discouraged, and just keep pushing. So I got back in the car and probably went harder than I was going to go. But we weren't that far off the pace, so Baja's just a long day.
Oh yeah. Was there any so that has the 75-mile dry lake bed? What else was the course like this year?
Other than that, it was just San Felipe whoops for miles. And actually, the course wasn't all that bad. They really found a lot of nice sand washes with canyons and some deep sand, and the course was actually really fun. I really like the desert side of Baja. Over on the San Felipe side, I really enjoy that side. The course was really good. It was just hot outside. It was just over 100 degrees, and it makes for a tough day when it's that hot. But they did a really good job with the course. A lot of sand washes, a lot of canyons, and then a lot of whoops. But you can't get away from that in San Felipe.
Oh yeah. Did you see a lot of people breaking down from overheating, or did you see that being an issue?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, the UTVs, if it were 5 years ago, you start a race and you see UTVs all over the course right away. But that's
Yeah.
That's not the case anymore. Now, we've come so far. The engineering on these things has really progressed, and you're not seeing a lot of UTVs broken down. A lot of other cars broken down, but really not all that many UTVs broken down. It was I was actually really surprised.
Yeah, it's really saying something just of the progression of the sport. I mean, I don't know, maybe it was 10 years ago or more, maybe 12, 13 when the Rhino first came out, and now it's, man, the side-by-sides are sometimes passing the trophy trucks.
Yeah, I mean, we're still, we're not where class 10 is, and that's kind of the class that's just faster than us. I don't know that we ever get there. They'll do 110 miles an hour, and they can do that for long periods of time. With us right now, with it being a belt drive, we just, we can touch 100 every now and again, but we can't hold it at 100 miles an hour for 75 miles like they can. So until, in maybe 3-4 years, until that technology improves even more, we're probably just shy of Class 10 right now. I don't see us being faster than them. We beat them because they break and have problems, but Class 10 is still faster. But we're kind of the next class up, right after Class 10 now.
Oh yeah, it's nice because back then the UTV guys would look as like, oh, you guys are just racing golf carts.
Yeah.
And now just the power and the suspension's there, and it's just like people take it more seriously now, and those guys are kind of moving over to this side by side just because it's, I wouldn't say, I mean, it's a little cheaper than a trophy truck, but you could still sink a lot of money into it side by side.
No, you can. I think the one of the big advantages that I think people find when they start racing UTVs is if you need parts of some kind, they're pretty readily available, whether it's, axles or brakes or hubs or those things. They're pretty readily available from a bunch of different companies, where that's just not the case in some of the other classes. There's just not as many manufacturers of parts. So when you need something for your Class 10 car, there's a limited number of people making those. So it makes racing and prepping a UTV much, much easier.
Yeah, I could see that. That's awesome. Yeah. So kind of talks about what do you have on your Maverick X3?
So we on the Maverick X3 we're running stock motor. We have to be stock motors. We're running it with an Evo Stage 4 tune on it. Excuse me. We're running stock drive shaft. We're running stock front diff. You have to run you have to run stock transmission and stock front diff, which we are, and we're actually running stock drive shaft. We're running stock steering rack. It's funny because you hear people all the time say, and with my car, they'll look at it and say, "Well, geez, that's so far from stock." Well, yes and no. I mean, what people have to understand is number one, we need to build a cage that's going to handle a 100-mile-an-hour crash. And I hope I don't ever have a 100-mile-an-hour crash. But if I do, we need to build the cages that will handle crashes. So, from that side, it's a safety precaution. But we do have a lot. Vendetta Motorsports, La Fortune Racing. He built a cage, and he's got a lot of race car experience. So my biggest thing to him was, I'm not as concerned if I'm a little bit heavier than the other guys. My biggest thing is I want to walk away from a crash if it comes, and I think we will. But so we do run a lot of stock parts. The stock drivetrain, like I said, stock steering rack. The aftermarket stuff that we will run is we run Zollinger front. We'll run Zollinger double shear front knuckles and rear knuckles for strength. They're billet aluminum. So those are stronger. We'll run. We run OMF wheels. We run System 3 tires. We run the stock Fox shocks that come on a stock car. They're just revalved, but the internals are identical. We don't change internals. We simply just respring and revalve for race cars. So although excuse me, some other teams might be running some work shocks. We're not. We're running just the stock shocks, just revalved and resprung. For lighting, we run BAJA Designs lights. Those are important for us, especially in Mexico or even at Vegas to Reno, where we're running a lot at night. So we run BAJA Design lights. We have. We'll upgrade from the stock sway bars to Summers Brothers sway bars. They're just over time they'll last a lot longer than a stock sway bar will. We also run Summers Brothers axles as well. And then on the interior of the car, we run PRP seats. It's a hard shell seat, so it's safer than the suspension seats. There's two thoughts on that, but we think that the The hard shell seats offer a little more safety in a hard
Yeah,
crash.
that's what I heard too. Is that people like suspension seats, some people don't. And it seems like the people who like the suspension seats are more of the woods racers.
Yeah, the theory, I guess, is that you know, in a crash, you don't want anything moving, and in a crash in a suspension seat, you're going to compress a little bit.
Hmm.
So you know, there's a couple schools of thought on that, and I kind of went the more traditional route with the traditional racers saying, no, you want a hard shell seat.
Yeah,
So PRP made a seat, I think, about 2 or 3 years ago, and that's what we run in the race car. Um, and then we have the other thing we built for this car was we built a 44 gallon fuel safe fuel cell. So that really helps in
wow.
Baja. We can safely get about 200 miles out of it, and it's just important, especially in Baja where some of your pits are 180 miles apart, and you can't get anywhere. You can't get anywhere in there, so you know you have no choice but to go 180 miles. So that fuel cell was real important. And again, we built a bigger one, really with Baja in mind. Not as much, you know, the racing in the States, but it's important for Baja.
Do you swap the tanks out when you're racing Baja for best in desert?
No, we just leave it in, and we just run a little bit less gas for best in
Gotcha.
the desert.
Yeah. So how long does it take to prep for, say, like the Baja 500? I know it maybe takes a while to even map it all out, where you're gonna pit, all that.
Yeah, I mean, prepping the car. This is our third year with this car, so we've built a bit of inventory. So um, for instance, I have a second set of shocks. I have a second set of knuckles. I have extra axles. We have extra hubs. So what we do is when we do a prep, we take all the old stuff, all the used stuff off, and we put all the new stuff on that's been prepped. And so that makes prep a lot easier. And then between those races, we won't necessarily have to prep the car. We can prep all the spare parts that'll go on for the next one. But planning for Baja, we're already planning for the Baja 1000. In fact, we already sent out our pit assignments today. Went out to
Mhm.
email everybody, and the race is still 6 weeks away. So, a lot of planning for Baja for sure. We actually took the car completely down to the frame. So again, I think I might have mentioned it was up at Vendetta today. In fact, they just called and said the frame looks good, just a few cracks to get welded up. So we'll do a full prep. So that'll happen over the next several weeks as well. So it takes a lot to race Baja for sure. We will go down with about 24 people
Oh,
total to do the race. So that's a lot of
geez.
bodies.
How many do you have for the 500?
The 500 we had 12. So
Wow.
we normally for the 500 we would have about 20. So we definitely went down with a much lighter crew, and that
How
includes
many?
all the drivers. The 12 included all the drivers.
Jeez. And how many chase trucks is that?
We did 3 chase trucks for the 500. We'll do four. We'll do four for the 1000 because you're on two different sides of the peninsula there. So we'll do two on each side.
Hmm. Cool. How long have you been racing?
I've been racing in the desert for a long time. My first desert race. I used to race motorcycles, and I got to do my first desert race in like 1982, probably before you were even
Jeez.
born, is my
Yes,
guess.
born 88. Yeah.
Um, my first desert race, my parents let me do it as a kid in 1982, and then I raced motorcycles in the desert for up to about 2006. So
Dang.
I raced a lot of miles on a dirt bike in the desert, a lot of racing. We'd race 20 to 25 times a year.
Okay.
Um,
Did your dad get you into it, or?
Yeah, my dad started actually racing in the 60s, way back. And so we would go to his races, and yeah, that's how we got into it.
Oh, yeah, same here. It's a funny story. I don't know if I ever told you this or not, but uh, how my dad got into the off road stuff. My dad wanted a dirt bike course, and my grandpa was like, I'll buy you a dirt bike if you shoot 21 free throws in a row and make them all." And he did it. And that's how
Wow.
he got his first dirt
Wow.
bike.
Do you know what his first dirt bike was? Do you know what model it was?
I think it was like a TTR Yamaha.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, Dad, if you're watching, let me know in the comments.
Yeah, no, that's cool, and that's you hear a lot of kids that get into racing with their dads that raced or their moms that raced, and that's pretty cool. The sport will die if we don't have the younger guys coming in to race, and there's a lot of young kids that are getting into off road and getting into UTVs in particular, and I think it's really great for the sport because that's we need to continue to grow and to thrive and survive. And without the youth coming in, it will die. So it's really good to see the young kids out racing.
Oh yeah, I'm just surprised that the manufacturers it seems like Polaris is the only manufacturer that actually makes youth side by sides right now.
Yeah.
Uh, I think it'd be pretty cool to have a little mini X3 out there, or a mini Talon, or
No, would I think a Mini X3? Although we'd have to detune that a lot.
yeah,
I have two younger kids as well as two older ones, but I can't imagine the younger ones getting in a car with that kind of power. It would they'd be put on its lid in the first half a minute, I think.
oh yeah. I had Jimmy Sakoon on my Leah Development podcast last Wednesday, and I don't know if you knew it, but he has a 700 horsepower X3.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, I
Wow.
was like, how is that even possible?
Yeah. No,
But yeah,
and look, I know a lot of people come on podcasts and pump sponsors and things. We all like to, but I have to tell you, the Can-Am is just been an amazing platform. I never forget the first time I got in the seat of an X3. I got it here at my house, and I went and drove it down the street, and I came back and I said, "This is going to be unbelievable. I can't
yeah,
believe we're going to race these things. It's going to be awesome." And the X3 has just been a great platform. The motors are super strong and super reliable, and it's really been just super enjoyable racing with Can-Am. I got to say they're just a really good group of people, and their race program is run really well, and we get so much support from the factory. If we have issues or have questions, the guys are readily available, and I think that's the reason why you see Can-Am having a lot of success, is because they do
oh
stand
yeah.
behind their racers and the program.
Oh yeah, just the race development team of Jeff and Simon is just they're at pretty much every single race.
Yeah.
And I've known those guys for a long time, and it's just nice to see that factory back in there just to help the guys out, just to make sure they have
Yeah,
everything they need to make the podium.
it's really nice. I can email Simon or call Simon, and Simon's the race engineer, and pick his brain, and we've done a lot of that over the last 3 years, and we're still doing that. You would think that we would have everything worked out, and for the most part we do, but we can always be better. And it's just the support we get from Jeff and Simon is great, and I don't know that we would all have the success without their support. And they run a very, very professional race program, and I think it shows in the results. If you look at the results, there's Can-Am is winning or on the podium of just about everything that's out there.
Oh yeah, that was at Vegas Reno, I think it was with the Murray brothers, and when the X3 first came out, they won. They won that. It was just people like unloading it. People were like, "What in the world?" Just
Yep.
one day after it was released.
Yep.
Just
Yeah,
pretty cool. And
I remember. I remember seeing it. Because it was, they did a good job promoting it, and they put a lot of hype around it, and When I actually saw it with my eyes, I said, "Wow, this is pretty incredible." So, we really like our Max. It's sometimes a little bit too big for some of the races in the States, but it really makes up for it. Like Vegas to Reno and even the Mint 400 and Baja is where it really does well.
Yeah, do you think just the longer wheelbase helps in those whoops, or
Yeah, it
do you
helps
wait for the max?
it helps in the whoops, and it also helps. It's way more stable than a two-seater would be, so it takes a lot less driver effort. So I feel like myself and the guys that are driving with me, we don't get near as fatigued as we would in a shorter wheelbase car. It's just
It
you're on
doesn't beat you up as much.
it doesn't beat you up, and when you're on the roads, it's really stable, so it's not swimming around, and you don't have to be quite as intense in the car. And I think that's where it does better. But yeah, obviously it does much better in the whoops, with the longer wheelbase.
Oh yeah. Do you use that back seat? I see. Is the back seat that fuel cell there, or
Yeah.
do
So
you?
the back seat is where that big fuel cell goes.
Gotcha.
Big 44-gallon fuel cell. So
That's
it's really
crazy.
big.
You know what stock is by chance? I can't
I think
remember.
stock is 11 or 12. I think is the
That's
stock
quite the
tank.
difference.
So it's a big difference.
That's awesome. Yeah. So what do you have coming up? So you have the Baja 500 coming up or Baja 1000 coming up in like about 6 weeks, you say?
Yeah, so we were going to race. We aren't racing the UTV World Championships just because we knew it would. We kind of had to decide between the 500 and the World Championships.
Yeah. And that's
And the
this weekend, right?
Yeah, that's this coming weekend, and the course is just it's a little tighter. It's not quite a really wide open desert. So for us, in Baja was one we really felt we could do well at. Not that we didn't think we could do well at UTV World Championships, but we thought we'd do better in Baja, so we chose Baja over that. And then we were going to do the Blue Water Best in the Desert, but we decided after winning the Baja 500 that the 1000 is now extremely important for us. It's a two-race championship, and we really want to bring Can-Am that championship of the score championship. So again, that's where we made the decision to skip Blue Water and tear the car completely down and make sure that we check dot every I and cross every T and make sure that the car is 100% ready to go for the 1000.
Oh yeah. So what are you sitting in the stands right now in the score series?
Well, it's only a two event. It's only the
Oh, I guess so.
500 and
Yeah.
the
So
1000.
first,
So, yeah, so we're sitting
what a
first.
weird year.
Yeah, it's a weird year. So I think I'd have to check, but I think our 500 win was the first win in Baja for Can-Am in several years. And I think it's been a while since they've had a championship, I believe. I'm not sure. I think the Murrays were the last ones, or maybe Burnett, and I'm not sure how long ago that was. So we really were super motivated. I really would love to give Can-Am a score championship and pay them back for the support they've given us, for sure.
That'd be awesome. So what are your plans for 2021?
2021 is a little up in the air in terms of what we're going to race. We're with Can-Am again, so I'm super pumped that we're going to be with Can-Am for 2021. Again, we are going to go after, I think, the full score series. So it's a 4-race series next year. We're going to do a full score series. We're going to try out the new Legacy series with some of the people that left Best in the Desert. We're going to try their race in January and see how that goes. And then we'll do most of the Best in the Desert series, although we're not going to chase the championship there. We'll do, I think, we probably won't do Silver State, but we'll probably do all of the others. And then we'll do the Mint 400 as well. We really enjoyed the Mint 400. That's another course where our car does really well, and that kind of really suits my driving style. So, I think we have 11 or 12 races on the calendar right now. So it's a lot of racing,
Yeah, man. Looking forward to next year, and hopefully stuff will get back to somewhat normal. Seems like it is a bit. It's nice for the events to come back and the races and yeah, we'll see how 2021 goes. But I think it's getting a little better.
Yeah, I mean, you just don't know where this ends, but I think the off-road community between Vegas to Reno, and the Baja 500, I think the racing community showed that we can jump through the hoops that they're asking us to jump through to race. And I think as racers, we love to race, and within reason, whatever they ask us to do, we may bitch and moan and complain about it, but at the end of the day, we're probably going to do it so we can go racing. So,
Yeah.
hopefully the World Championships as well goes off without a hitch from a COVID perspective, which, I'm sure that it will. So there's three pretty big races, over the last few months where I think we've shown that we can race safely, in the COVID environment. And hopefully that, whether COVID is still here next year or gone, that we can race all the races and just, abide by the protocols and not have any races canceled. That would be really, great if that happened.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, I guess we'll see on that. This week you leave for Trail Hero, right?
Yeah, so we're going to go to Trail Hero, Boxo USA Tools, which is one of our big sponsors. If you guys, another shout out for one of my sponsors, but if you guys see their stuff, their modular toolboxes are
Make some cool
absolutely,
stuff.
they're incredible. So System 3 Tires and Boxo asked if we come out to Trail Hero and do some driving, and since we weren't doing the World Championships, it worked out. So I'm really excited to go to San Hollow. I've never been, and I hear it is just amazing. So
Oh, you never been to San Hollow?
I've never been, so
Dude,
I'm looking forward to it.
it's probably one of my favorite places to ride besides Glamis. And
Oh,
it's nice because it's just a mix of, sand dunes and then rocks and stuff like that. But you can actually, first time I was out there was with Harlan Foley, Day 3 Riders and Dirt Nation now. And he's like, yeah, you want to go see some dinosaur tracks? I'm like, what?
Yeah, I've seen the pictures. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, that was man, it's and tell you what, the first time we went out there, we were just climbing. I was actually I think it was a Kawasaki T-Rex. I was climbing a hill, first time on the trail. All of a sudden I look over to the left and there's a huge golf course, like prime golf course. I'm like, wait, what is going on here?
I think hopefully if the schedule works out, I think I get to play golf on Saturday. And I'm not a golfer. I golf maybe once a year, twice a year, but I think Matt Chapman from Monster, he's going to be out there as well. So we were talking earlier about trying to play golf on Saturday, but I'm looking forward to it. I've heard it's a really great event. I heard last year it went off really well, so I'm excited to go, and we're actually leaving out there on Wednesday.
Have you seen the video that UTV Sports put together on Amazon Prime?
Yes, yeah, it was really cool. So hopefully we'll get to be in this year's video if all goes well. So
it's cool seeing
sounds like a
that
great
on. Oh yeah, it's cool seeing that on Amazon Prime of all things.
Yeah. No, the more we can do to make things mainstream, the better off we're going to be.
Oh yeah. Just winding things down. So who would you like to thank as far as your sponsors go?
I really we have a great group of sponsors, and everyone that has stood by us, and I know I mentioned a lot of them. There's a few more like Torco Oils and Pro Eagle Jacks, and we run full Cognito suspension. We run G Boost belts. So there's we have a host of great partners with us, and obviously Monster Energy and Can-Am. This 2021 will be our 2020 will be our 5th year with Can-Am, and
wow.
it's we didn't have success at times, which we thought we should have had. And, these companies, not just Can-Am and Monster, but a lot of the ones that I've mentioned have stayed with us. And we can't thank them enough. We knew, or we believed our day would come, and we got there. And I would, one of the things I, always tell people is, and tell my crew is, you've got to believe in yourself first. And so, I always believe in myself and our crew and our program, that we can win. And, we just knew that eventually that day was going to come. And I'm so thankful that all our sponsors stuck with us and stayed with us on the journey, and that we were able to give back to them with the Baja 500 win. And look, we're not satisfied with just a Baja 500 win. We've been really close. You kind of don't ever remember the guy who gets second place, but we've been knocking on the door for a while. At last year's Baja 500, we were in the lead on corrected time with about 40 miles to go, and we made a mistake and ripped off the side of the car. So, we've been close for a long time. At Vegas Torino this year, we just drove a little bit conservative. Phil beat us by, I think, 12 minutes over 500 miles. So we were close, just didn't push quite hard enough and got fourth. So, we knew we were getting close, but at the end of the day, we just kept believing in ourselves, and we didn't give up, and just kept pushing, and finally broke through. And, now that we've tasted the champagne, as they say, we definitely want more, and we're going to work even harder than we were before to hopefully win the 1,000. That's our immediate goal. And then next year, we really want to go for the Score Championship next year as well.
Oh yeah. Well, I hope to see you down at the 1,000. We'll see how things go. But man, it's actually, I don't think I've ever been to the 1,000. I've been to the 500, but not the 1,000. So we'll see.
The 1,000's fun because you go all night. And it's just very strange racing that many hours through the night. And then you get a real adrenaline shot when the sun comes up the next morning. The night's really long, but that sun comes up, and all of a sudden, it's like you just have a shot of adrenaline, and you really are able to push again. But that night can be a long night for sure. It's fun. You should really try to come out. You're more than welcome. If you don't go with the Murrays, you're more than welcome to tag along with us anytime.
Hey, awesome. I appreciate that. That'd be pretty cool. And so how can people follow you on social media?
We're at 948 Monster X3 is kind of our main team one. And then my personal one is 1948 Monster Matt. I was not born in 1948, so I'm not that old. But that was our race number when we started back racing side by side. So that was before the turbo class. We were 1948, so that's where that came from. So again, it's 1948 Monster Matt and 948 Monster X3.
Awesome.
Invite everybody to follow us. So we'll keep trying to push out content for everybody. It's a never-ending battle to try to make content. So.
Oh, it is, man. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, I mean, you guys are always pushing out content, videos, and posting all the time. So that's great, man.
We're extremely fortunate in that we have one of our crew guys, Jacob Mann. He does production video stuff for a living. So we get his services. He comes to the races with us, and we get to do it much cheaper than it might cost other people because he's one of our buddies and our crew guys. But yeah, it's just it's important to try to keep fresh and keep pushing content out, and that's a way to give back to your sponsors. You've got to give them the content that they can use, and some use it more than others, but you just got to keep trying to provide fresh content for them to use.
Oh yeah, I think that's where a lot of racers fail, is they get sponsored and they don't follow through on just simply putting together content for their sponsors to use, and just saying thanks and providing value versus just take.
Yeah, it's it's tough, especially we even though we bring a lot of people to Baja, we have no paid people on our team. We don't have guys working in the shop. This is all volunteers, and I have a pretty stressful day job that takes a lot of hours, and I'm up frequently. I'll stop work at 8 o'clock from my day job, and I'll be working on the car until 1 or 2 in the morning, and we're working weekends, and those are the things that you've got to put those sacrifices in to be successful, and and to just get a sponsorship. People are sponsoring you because they want something, they need something from it, they expect something from it. And now with everything really moving over to kind of the digital content side, it's all about creating that content. So it's an important part of us. Look, our number one goal is to go win a race, and we don't take our eye off that number one goal. But our second goal is to try to give our sponsors as much content as we can provide them that they can use. And again, some use it more than others, but we provide it for everybody. And you're right. I hear all the time from sponsors that say, "Gee, I sponsored this team, and I gave them X, Y, and Z, and I never got anything. I never got race results. I never talked to them." And I can tell you for I can specifically tell for Can-Am, no matter how the race goes, first thing Monday morning, I'm calling Jeff and Simon, because it's important to let them know how the racing went. And we try to do that with really all our sponsors, whether it's via email or via phone calls. We try to stay in contact with them, frequently, and just to make sure that we're doing what they can do. And one thing that I always ask, I ask of our sponsors, what can I do for you? You tell me. And Trail Hero is a great example. Boxel called, said, "Hey, will you go?" And absolutely. And I ask our sponsors all the time, tell me what I can do for you. Tell me what we can do for you guys. Just please ask. And when they ask, we 99 out of 100 times, we do what they ask of us. But you don't know, if you don't ask, you don't know what they want from you.
Exactly. And you're building that relationship and making yourself stand out from the crowd versus just being a racer. They send you parts or money and don't get anything back. And you're just being proactive and actually staying on top of things. And when it comes to next year getting sponsored again, you're going to come top of mind.
Yeah. And it's, is it important to do well? Yeah, absolutely. I'm not of the mindset that some people are, that the racing doesn't matter anymore, because I think the racing absolutely matters. I can tell you, working for Monster, the racing absolutely matters. Monster is all about podiums and winners, so it absolutely matters. So you hear people say, it doesn't matter how you race. No, that is absolutely not true. It really matters. But you need to be visible. Your car needs to look good. If you have a trailer, the trailer needs to look good. It needs to have their sponsor logos on there. You need to have team T-shirts. All those little things, you put those together and add those up, and you're really presenting an overall package to the companies that you work with. And I think that's important, that you provide a package for them and show them what you can do. And it's social media, and it's your visibility at the races, and those things are for sure important.
Oh yeah, I agree 100%. Coming from top of the podium and actually producing sponsorship resumes for racers, doing that since I was 16. So it's nice to hear back from a racer that's actually doing all this stuff, like creating content and getting on the podium. I mean, it's a win-win situation for those sponsors.
Yeah, and look, the creating content is challenging for sure. But what we've realized is there's so many opportunities to create content, and whether it's traveling to a race or videoing a pit stop that you have at a race, those are kind of the things that people like to see. If you're out for a testing day, you film it. I mean, there's so many opportunities to create usable content. You just have to always have that switch on and be thinking of, we kind of designate one guy to go around with a camera, and we say, look, just walk around with a camera, just film everything, and then we'll pick and choose what content we have. But it's too late after the race. And if you win, it's really hard to go back and create content after the race.
Exactly. The more, the better. You can always create. You can't go back and create it. If you have it, you have it.
Yeah.
So cool, man. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the stuff that you create at Trail Hero. I wish I was out there for that event, because
it should be fun. I won't create any content of me playing golf because it won't be good. No one wants to see a score of 120 plus, but yeah, it should be fun. We're looking forward to it, and hopefully this year's show that they put together for Prime is as good as last year's, which I'm sure that it will be.
Oh man, they always knock it out of the park with their content, and
yeah, they do. They do a good job.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, man. We're about to an hour, but yeah, I appreciate you coming on the show, and always good chatting with you.
Thanks for having me anytime. You've become a good friend over the years, and anything you need from me,
appreciate it.
Don't hesitate. And like I say, if you don't have a spot for the 1,000 and you're looking for a spot, we always have a spot open for you. So more than welcome to join us.
Cool, man. Yeah. Jeremiah Drew says hi, and I guess we'll see you in Utah.
Oh, cool. He's going. That's great. Jeremiah's a good guy. He's a military guy, so we always very humbled, being around Jeremiah and thanking him for his service that he gives us for the country, and he's out racing, and he does a good job racing as well. So always nice to see Jeremiah.
Oh yeah, he races X3, right?
Yeah, he does. Yes. Yeah, he
cool,
he races X3 and he does well. He races the unlimited class, and he's always in the mix for a win.
Oh yeah. Thanks for joining, Jeremiah. Good to see you. I'm not sure if I met you in person, but I'm sure we might meet up here soon. So cool, man. Yeah, thanks again for joining the show. It's it's an honor to have you on the show, and appreciate everything you do.
Yeah, anytime, bud. I'm glad to do it.
Cool. Well, yeah, if you're watching, make sure you share out a link to this on your profile if you enjoyed the show. Let us know what you think. And till then, we'll see you next time.
All right.
Appreciate it, Matt.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you. Bye.
See you.